morning, guys. Welcome to the show this Saturday. Listen, want to talk about a few things? One of the things we want to talk about, the big thing, is the trade deal with China. Trump has pushed for a hard deal. The Chinese are going to buy an awful lot of U.S. products now in this trade deal, but Trump is also pushing through what he calls 6G network. Well, forget what happened to 5G. You know, I mean, we were waiting for 5G, and now we're going to jump to 6G? I did some research into it. Yeah, 6G is entirely possible. Trump, you know, when he tweets stuff, he's on top of things. Like, he knows the latest technology. The man is not, he is with it, you know. Anyway, let's get right in there, and let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. You know, I took a look here at some of this stuff that they're talking about 5G. It's so absolutely ridiculous. This one here is death towers. It's ridiculous. Look, they got a big picture there, you know, and here's one with Alex Jones, you know. Dangers of 5G. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous stuff. 5G, what it'll do is it's going to enable you to not lose your signal on your cell phone so quick. It's going to enable you to have higher speed internet and everything else. You know, but it looks like we're going to jump right past that. Let's get right into the news here and take a look at what's going on. Here's what Trump says. He says, of course, they're talking about the trade deals, but I'm just going to talk about this whole thing about the wireless technology. It says, Trump's 6G tweet spurs questions. Is 6G even a thing? Well, yeah, I think they're going to jump right past 5G, and they're going to go for 6G. Let's just take a quick look at this one right here real quick. You know, Trump's 6G tweet spurs questions. Is 6G even a thing? If you're confused about the president's tweet that pushes for faster deployment of 5G and even 6G technology, you're not alone. It says, it's never too early to be thinking of the next generation of wireless. At least that's the stance of President Donald Trump. In a pair of tweets Thursday, he proclaimed he'd like to see 5G and even 6G technology deployed in the United States as soon as possible. In not so many words, he pretty much told U.S. carriers to get off their butts and deploy the networks before the Chinese beat them to the punch. Here's his tweet. I want 5G and even 6G technology in the United States as soon as possible. More powerful, faster, smarter than the current standard. So you'll be able to use, I mean, with this new 6G, and they bring the 6G technology out, you'll be able to use your cell phones way out in remote places and everything, you know. It's going to expand the network, and it's going to make it much faster and better, you know, for usage. Because we all know we need our internet. Anyway, let's take a look here at some of these articles pertaining to the China trade talks. It says here, Trump dangles option to drop charges against Huawei's. You remember that thing where they were going to extradite one of the chiefs of the Huawei Corporation, and China was so mad about it, they're going to extradite her to the United States to face criminal charges. Trump dangles the option to drop the charges. So he's using that as one of his tools. Also, he's working the deal. The Chinese now at this point, they have every reason to try to break this deadlock and this trade barrier and to sign a deal with Trump. And Trump is right on to sign a deal now with them. And everybody's moving to the table. It says, Trump and Huawei charges on the table in China trade talks. Trump says the United States and China to reach a deal on currency manipulation as trade talks continue. Trump sees a very good chance of reaching a trade deal with China. U.S. and China trade deal optimism in this article. It says, can Trump make a deal with China? Trump wants to declare victory with China. Dow is above 26,000 for the first time since November. Chinese officials extend U.S. trade trip as tariff hike threat endures. What America could offer in a U.S.-China trade deal. So what we're seeing here is all of these news articles now are starting to point toward China and the United States sitting down and hashing out a deal. So the trend I see developing right now at this point is a trade deal being passed between China and the United States, and this spurring a market rally. The market could actually set new highs if this trade deal actually goes through. And, of course, the United States economy right now, the official jobless rate is very low. Now, unofficially, you can go to places like Shadow Stats, but, of course, they do manipulate the numbers, but the United States economy is probably one of the strongest economies out there right now, reporting over 3% GDP growth year on year, but the Chinese are reporting 6 point something GDP growth. But you have to understand that the Chinese numbers are fudged like crazy. I mean, those numbers, you can't go by the Chinese numbers on their GDP. So even though it's twice what the United States' numbers are probably a little bit more accurate as to the real GDP. The United States economy, I think, is actually perking along probably better than the Chinese economy. And the Chinese have every reason to sit down at the table right now. They don't want to see their economy go down the drain. This trade war is actually harder on them. They're getting the worst of it. And so they have a lot of reason why China right now wants to get this deal done, and the United States now at this point wants to get this deal done. So we see this stock market rally coming after trade deal comes through. I'm really more than half expecting, I'm about 3/4 expecting the trade deal to go through. And we see a rally in the markets. The markets set new highs just about the same time as the Federal Reserve comes in for their open market meetings or whatever. I think it's an entire possibility that they might, because the volatility in the market's behind us now, they might go ahead with another 25 basis point rate hike. But if they do, it's going to be a huge mistake. Huge mistake. You know, because they're also continuing with their program of quantitative tightening. They haven't stopped. They're still pulling $50 billion a month from the economy. And what they're doing is they're creating a liquidity crunch. Each time they pull $50 billion out, they're creating a liquidity crunch, because that's exactly the same money that they put in on the other end after the 2008 crisis. So we got to remember that. And also remember, the higher the stock market goes on this end, the more likely it's going to fall on the other end. The further it has to fall, you know, because the more overvalued it is. So these are issues that we got to watch. Now, let's take a look here at what the Fed's saying. The Fed minutes show officials are unsure of the need for rate hikes in 2019. Now, they didn't say there's not going to be any rate hikes in 2019. They just said that they're unsure. It says, Fed Williams says new economic outlook necessary for rate hikes. Okay? Listen carefully to what they're saying. A new economic outlook. Could, if we sign a trade deal with China and we get a stock market rally, could that constitute a new economic outlook that the Fed's looking for to make another rate hike? That's something very much we should think about right here. It said Fed leaves interest rates steady, says they will be patient on future rate hikes. Well, right now they could say that they're being patient right now, and when the next time comes for a Federal Open Market Committee meeting, and the next chance they get, they could slip in another 25 basis point rate hike. It says Fed policymakers see one U.S. rate hike or none as growth slows. So see, right there, from Reuters, they see one U.S. rate hike. we get a stock market increase, that one U.S. rate hike might come into effect. The old saying, one too far, one too many. That's what I think about it all. I think it'll be one too many. It says in this one right here, U.S. Fed to hold off on 25% basis point rate hike until June. Okay? Right now, they're given the probability of 1 in 5. I think if we get a market, increase in the market, a rally in the market after a trade deal with China, I think that probability is going to change drastically from 1 in 5. It's going to really go up, the probability of that 25% rate hike. So now you know, June. I'm thinking that very possibly June might be the time that the Fed does the next 25 basis point rate hike. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens with Brexit. Right now, Brexit is up in the air. They're moving. They're only, I think it's 37 days left they got until the hard Brexit. And if nothing happens between now and then to stop this deadlock that they have, they'll have a hard Brexit. There's one thing that could mess up the possibility of the next 25 basis point rate hike, depending on how that would affect the economy, the general overall world economy, a hard Brexit. We're going to have to wait and see on that. So see, there's a lot of uncertainty out there right now in the world. Listen, thank you guys for listening to this Saturday report, and we'll catch you again very soon. Bye-bye, guys.